while 4 beloved community members clung to life. The one whose meal put them in the hospital dodged police questions. But the evidence piled up, and soon she was in front of a jury trying to convince them that it was all a horrible accident. This week's episode is Erin Patterson, Australia's Mushroom Murderer, Part 2. Sinisterhood. Well, thanks everybody for your feedback on Part 1. Whew, this is a doozy of a case.
It is, and this episode made me sad. Just watching the footage of Ian and just really thinking about a story like this and how many lives from one family are lost at one time, and like we say so often, the ripple effect that goes out to like so many different families and her children. And, like they've lost their grandparents, both sets, pretty much their mother. Their dad was nearly killed 3 times. It's just so much for these kids to bear, and just senseless, There's a lot of senseless murder in the world. There's your hot take for today.
No, I mean, truly. And also like insidious, I think too, that's the problem is it's not, there was some big clash or there was a fight or there was this bad blood. It was like 4 people who did nothing but wish her well, supported her, loved her despite now separating from their blood relative even, but like still considering her family. And like, I think it's in the book version of Life of Chuck, they talk about when someone dies, it's an entire Library of Alexandria burns, just like also losing the life experience, the wisdom that Dawn and Gail and Heather could have given to people. I think that's another loss that the family will continue to feel repeatedly as they go, I'll just call Dawn. Oh, I can't call him. It's like when someone said, I that's how I really felt the losses whenever, like, I remember breaking down after my dad passed away because I had scraped my car and I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And I was like, I'll just like call him. And then I just hit the floor because I was like, no, and call my brother-in-law, and that changed our relationship and made us closer. But it's those moments and hearing everybody talk about like, I would always go to Dawn for advice. I would always go to Gail for advice that, that's just going to be more mourning. But
it does. It sneaks up on you in ways that you don't expect until you're there, truly.
Absolutely. Well, and thanks to our listeners, too, from Australia, giving us some insight into Part 1, including and especially hearing that that Simon and Erin had to drive. They fought, and then the distance from Perth to Victoria is 37 hours long. That's for her to fly away and be like, you get to drive 37 hours home with our 3-month-old. That 37-hour drive with a 3-month-old is bad. I mean, I figured it was a long drive. I'm like, I don't know, like 12, 15 hours.
I did not know that long. Yeah, over a day. 37 hours driving by yourself, just by yourself, is so much. Not to be able to switch off, but then you got a 3-month-old. That is diabolical. That right there, she should deserve to get charged for something. How you can fly back and just like be at your home, and just waiting for like your baby and your husband to drive up. Wild stuff, man. She's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Exactly. That's what little moments like that, I think, are showing. Like, she was not just the quiet, kind of weird lady down the street. It was like she was plotting and planning. So
she gives me Gypsy Rose's mom's vibes, even though there's no indication there was like Munchausen going on, but just kind of that woe is me. I'm so sweet. And then everyone's like, no, she'll fucking poison you with the best beef Wellington you've ever had.
No, for real. Like, that's how Dee Dee was with the doctors, charm them. And like, that's how people get away with it. And that's how she lured these folks to her house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goddamn.
Use their kindness for her diabolical ways, which is so very sad to see.
So sad. Well, we're going to bring you the rest of this, the trial, as well as up until literally today in Texas. It's the final day of the 2-day victim impact statement hearings, the pre-sentencing hearings. So
yes,
take you all the way through breaking news.
On taking a hard turn.
Oh, yes. Briefly to mention.
Well, 2 things. Briefly to mention also today, Travis and Taylor it's been announced they've been engaged.
Get DMs. if we didn't mention it, by the
way. Were they already engaged and they just released it today? I don't know. May they already be married? Perhaps. But
I wouldn't tell anybody if I was them.
We all found out today, and it happened in August, which I'm just like, she got her song back.
It was a sweet post. Your English teacher is marrying your gym teacher, is what they said, which is very cute. So
very cute.
All the happiness to them. It gives everybody that like little burst of joy, and like I love of all kinds. So I'm like, good for you. Go be in love. Go be in love, you crazy kids. I can't wait to see the pics.
Yeah. Oh yes. And then we're going to get another new album pretty soon that's like what it's like being married.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
So we're going to get a lot of new albums.
He won't open the dishwasher to see if dishes are in there already.
If I get called in here one more time and he says, where are my shoes? I can't find them. And I say, check one of the 1,000 shoe racks we have in this house. Because you don't want to put them in your closet. This is by no means a personal song that I'm writing.
You're like, just like Taylor. I just like to write about folkloric characters, like other characters, Oh man. Yeah, that it's gonna be very sweet to see all that. So yeah, I figure if we don't mention at the top, people are like, did you not hear?
We've heard. Can't wait to see who does the wedding dress. I'm like, every designer has just been waiting and is like, it's go time. Send what we have.
Right. Get her to wear your design. Well, it's going to be not the night of their wedding, but it will be the night after the Life of a Showgirl is released. Season of the Witch, October 4th at the Texas Theater. We're going to conjure some good whatnot when we're there and change the world.
Some good trouble. Yes. Some good whatnot and trouble.
Hell yeah. Go to sinisterhood.com/live shows. Get your tickets for that. We will also be posting the streaming information there when it is available. We still don't have it, but it's coming. And then you can also get Learn Today, talk with the Crime Wave at Sea Friends. They only have two rooms at all left. So if you're listening,
for everyone,
not for Sinisterhood listeners, for all of it is sold out, but for like 2 seats at all. So if you're debating and thinking the door would be open, like just go get it now. Cause otherwise, probably by the time you hear this, it might be sold out. So
it will. Yes, probably. So thank you so much to everyone that has bought tickets. We are so very stoked. We had a meeting last night and talked about the show. It's going to be exciting. We've got some fun things planned, and I'm excited to get out there on the high seas, get some waves, some salt water in my hair.
I'm trying to get
sand under my toesies.
Just the Bermuda Triangle for me. That's all. I just want to slip through dimensions. But I didn't mention that on the conference call I had today. I was just like, yes, indeed. Yes, the itinerary. Let me take notes. But I was like, meanwhile.
We can send a follow-up. Exactly at what time will we be making these checkpoints? And will announcements be made? They're like, well, it happens at 4 a.m.
They were like, Heather, we didn't
announcements be made?
Yeah, they didn't. We didn't expect you to just be screaming, take me, you cowards. People are trying to sleep on this boat. You need to go back to your cabin.
I mean, I'm trying to make a connection.
Well, we will see you all on that ship November 3rd through the 7th. Go to crimewaveatsea.com/sinister to get your fan code before it is sold out.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. On August 2nd, Erin was seen on CCTV wearing a long coat and sunglasses as she discarded her food dehydrator at the Coonawarra Way Station. Investigators later discovered that she had factory reset a phone in her possession several times. Her primary phone was never found.
And also, just recently, it was released that before this way station trip, she had taken another one, and they couldn't really tell what she was throwing away, but it is assumed it could be a phone, the plates, any tiny, smaller ones, because you can't really see what she has, but she dumps it. So I don't go to the dump that often.
No, this is very Karen Reed-ish. I forget.
Literally every bad doer threw their phones in the ocean.
He specifically went to a military base to use their dumpster to dump his phone. I'm like, it already looks suspicious if you get rid of your phone. When you have footage of you throwing it in a dumpster, whom amongst us, put a finger down if you've ever driven out of your way to toss your phone into a dumpster because you're ready to get a new one.
No, same. Or you throw your food dehydrator in a dumpster that apparently still works because you'd been using it, I don't know, a week before.
Yeah.
And you didn't go and like sell it on Marketplace or something. You know, like let's not be wasteful. If it still works, donate it. Not this one particularly.
No, it probably has traces of death cap.
Truly.
Also, I don't know how we haven't made the joke death cap for cuties, but when I was taking notes the other day, I wrote it down just as a mental note, and I just wanted to say it because it made me laugh at the time.
It got out there. Well, I feel like mycologists could use that, then be like, death caps not for cuties, because you shouldn't have them. They're very bad, because you got to get the word out about them.
You do, yes. On August 3rd, police collected beef Wellington leftovers from Erin's trash. Toxicology confirmed the presence of amatoxin, the deadly compound in death caps. Police also recovered the discarded dehydrator from the waste station, which tested positive for traces of the poison.
That's the other thing is you don't think they're going to figure out that it was the dumpster closest to your house?
I don't think she thought much past the dinner.
Yeah.
You know, I think she wanted her way. Like I talked about last time, like, I don't think a lot of times people that do this really think past the feeling of, and then I get revenge. But it's like, okay, and then 4 people are dead and their people are going to want to know where they are and everyone's going to know how it happened. So
cops are going to search. They're going to ask questions. They're going to look at your computer.
Them. Yeah, you're super close to them. They're going to come. That part is just kind of blissfully left out of the whole plan.
She's just in that delusion, I guess.
On August 4th, despite advanced interventions including solibinin, dialysis, and ventilators, Gail, Dawn, and Heather died. Ian survived thanks to the liver transplant. Dr. Stephen Werlow, who treated the victims, described them as
devastatingly unwell, the sickest in the state. And you could tell speaking of devastated, like the medical providers that offered care to these folks who they said when Heather was like declining pretty rapidly, she was asking people visiting her, well, how's so-and-so? Well, how are you doing? How's this? Like still like as they are fading from life, they're still trying to care for others. And so the folks that were giving care to them were understandably impacted by this as well. It's that more of that ripple. Like you can't just, it's not the like, oh, I've killed these 3 people and that's the only people harmed by this. It's like even not even blood relatives are traumatized by this.
Absolutely. The next day, Erin was approached by reporters at her carport outside her Leongatha home. In her sole televised interview following the tragic lunch, Erin stood sobbing and emotionally insisted,
I loved them.
Adding,
they never did anything wrong to me.
Despite her visible distress and wiping her face, the reporter present observed that there were no actual tears. She appeared distraught, and initially some observers viewed her as a grieving host caught in a tragic accident. Others were skeptical.
I think this is where she started to get a lot more eyeballs on her because of how she reacted and definitely the face touching and you can tell there's no tears and just that loud shriek. It's almost like this shriek of like, I don't want to be talked to right now versus like, I am very sad and was saying things that she thought that she should say.
JP Miller, Sherry Papini, all of these people come to mind of like, you've been approached about something you know that you lied about. And now here come the fake waterworks.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever that good.
No, I recently watched, and I can't recall what case it was, but it was 2 female detectives interviewing a male perpetrator, and they just had him dead to rights, said, and this evidence came back, that essentially is like smoking gun. And he started going, oh, and she's like, I can see her face is dry. And it was like, because that is one big thing you see is like there's like 11s that show up between your eyebrows. That's like when your eyes are contracting to cry, like FBI agents look for that and you can't really fake it unless you can actually fake crying. And then certainly you're a better actor. It's like I guess you didn't practice crying.
No, you didn't practice crying.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
It's a daily habit that actually works. No hassle, no fuss, just scoop, mix, and go. Whether you're tackling school drop-off, conference calls, or the laundry mountain, this is one easy win that supports digestion, energy, and immune health in just 30 seconds.
Live It Up Super Greens is an all-natural blend of over 20 superfoods, including organic vegetables, probiotics, and digestive enzymes, formulated to support gut health, immune function, and daily energy. Just one scoop a day makes it easy to build a healthy habit without the grassy taste or chalky textures you get from other greens. It's third-party tested, nutritionist designed, and gentle on your stomach, so you can feel good about what you're putting into your body.
Whether you mix it with water, milk, or into a smoothie, Live It Up actually tastes great, making it the first step if you've been hesitant about greens powders. And compared to similar products, it's a much more affordable way to support your health daily. If you're looking to add a greens powder to your routine, this is the one you'll actually want to stick with.
I got to have something that's easy in the morning that's not going to be like 53 steps. And I'm also a huge baby and I can't drink things that taste gross. So thank you, Live It Up Greens, for being delicious and very easy to do.
It's literally become the easiest way for me to stay on top of my health.
Right away, right? I mean, if you do it in the morning too, then you don't have to worry about it the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a small habit. It has a ripple effect. 96% of people who take Super Greens daily say that it helped them increase their daily intake of vegetables and help them feel healthier.
Live It Up is offering you 15% off your first order, including subscriptions, with code CREEPY. Plus, shipping is always free. Head to letsliveitup.com/creepy and use code CREEPY for 15% off your first Super Greens order.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Over the ensuing weeks, Erin frequently spoke with the reporter privately, alternately lamenting how she was being
crucified in the press
and seemingly enjoying the attention, even though she claimed her lawyer advised against it. She even gave reporters a mobile number to reach her, later revealed to be linked to a, quote, dummy phone that police believe she handed over to mislead them during the investigation. With no arrests, the media was hungry to point fingers, and many began asking authorities if Erin was a suspect.
And that's why I kind of wondered early on is, are police just slowly looking at her, which I think was the case. But for most of us on the outside, we're like, just arrest her. But I think she's not really a flight risk. She's got 2 kids. It seems, and she doesn't seem necessarily like she's gearing up to kill anybody else again. So it might be a case where the police are just like, let's just wait and see what we can gather and maybe not tip her off early.
She'll trip herself up on accident at some point if we just wait around long enough. I agree.
Yeah. Plus they see her on the news and you're like, okay, we got to bring this lady in.
Yeah. On August 5th, 2023, Victoria police escalated their inquiry in Leongatha to a full homicide investigation. Their attention quickly focused on Erin as the only person who prepared the food and the only one at the table who didn't fall ill. Officers executed a search warrant on Erin's home. Analysts also examined her digital footprint and noted deleted phone activity, raising suspicion that she had tried to cover her tracks. Police also interviewed Erin at the station.
One of the things they found was a cookbook open to beef Wellington.
Well,
not shocking.
Come on. Nobody even went back and did like a walkthrough after the scene to cover your tracks?
No. And the interview didn't go much better. The footage has now been released after the trial. And in it, they tell her your in-laws are dead. And she just is like, oh, okay.
A deterioration in their condition and that they become so ill that their livers have failed.
Like, I feel like if you're a normal person was told that, but they also asked did you own a food dehydrator? And she says no. And they said, well, then why do you have a manual for a food dehydrator in your kitchen? So stuff like that, where it was like, you threw away the dehydrator and you didn't throw away the manual.
Yeah.
And the same,
thought through half of it.
For sure. And being like, did you ever forage for mushrooms? And to be like, no. I'm like, they know that you did because you went to the website on your computer at home and they can just ask your ISP that. So a lot of those things where she just directly looked them in the face and lied to them, and then the lack of reaction, that's when the police are kind of like, all right, this is like, it's just gathering evidence at this point because we know who it is.
Yeah. On August 10th, a source close to the family told media outlets that the lunch may have been part of Erin's effort to reconcile with Simon. According to this account, she had extended the invitation with hopes of rebuilding the relationship, only for Simon to decline at the last minute. This revelation heightened public interest and raised questions about motive.
And that's kind of what she brought up in the interview, saying, oh, Simon hated that I was still close with his parents. His parents loved me and he hated that. So I think there was some truth to that of like using the parents as pawns.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if they maintained their relationship with her for the sake of the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the text between Dawn and Erin too, he was a caring person. Like he can continue to care for her. She would like text these like long things. She was always having medical problems and would be like, my back and this happened. But then all of a sudden it's better and I feel better. And never once was he like, I think you're lying about this, Erin. He would just be like, we're so sorry to hear about that. We love you. We hope you feel better, whatever you need. Like you can tell by her text that it seemed like she would try to use medical things to manipulate people, and maybe it worked ish insofar as like he continued to be caring for her, but like the messages weren't like only text us about the grandkids. I mean, overall they were just like, oh, good to hear, we hope you feel better.
They're very nice, loving, caring people.
Goddamn.
Erin provided police with a written statement on August 14th. In it, she claimed that the mushrooms in the Wellington were a mixture of store-bought varieties from a local supermarket and dried mushrooms from a grocer in Melbourne. She denied any intent to harm and said she feared her children might be taken away from her, which is why she didn't initially tell the full story. This was a noticeable shift from her earlier public stance and only fueled public speculation that she was concealing something.
And this is when you start to get Sherry Papini-ish, where it's like, who kidnapped you? And it was like, these Mexican women. It was like, where'd you get these mushrooms? These Chinese grocers sold it to me. And like, why do you instantly try to blame a minority group for your problem?
Yep. The shift too of, well, I'm worried my kids will be taken away. Well, should they? Why would they be if you didn't do anything wrong? But a guilty conscience will make you do all sorts of stuff. And she knows what's up. Just one day later, on August 15th, images surfaced of what came to be known as Erin's, quote, death wall. The photos, allegedly taken from inside her home, showed handwritten notes, religious materials, and cryptic messages on the walls. While their relevance to the case was unclear, the images circulated widely online and contributed to a growing public fixation on Erin's mental state and intentions.
Yeah, she had said, the kids did it, and it looks like some kid drawings, but also some adult handwriting, in my opinion. And it says the guy that came to the house that had seen it said, I looked at it and gone, holy shit, what the hell's gone on? He said, this is really scary for kids to do this inside of a kitchen dining room. I didn't think it was right. It looked scary. It just didn't look right to me as a parent, because there was multiple references to death and tombstones. It said R.I.P. Grandma, a tombstone for Grandma.
This was after she alleges her children did this after they passed.
No, I believe it was like, can you come and like cover this wall up because there's like graffiti on it? And then they come in and the man that's been hired to paint is like, what is this? And it's stick figures and it says, I am dead. No, I am really dead. And all these strange stick figures. So like I said, she says that it was like, oh, her kids did this crazy stuff on the wall. But the worker was like, we started calling it the death wall because it was all about death.
Her kids are older than I would imagine that of drawing stick figures that do something like that too. It almost sounds more like a adult with a childlike mind, or that's, suffering from some sort of mental illness.
Yeah, or exactly. Or maybe there was some kind of drawings on the wall and then it got filled in. But yeah, it says, you're dead from my sword. You won't live 1 hour. Just like strange stuff. So we'll put a picture on our social media. But it is very odd, certainly, indeed.
Services for Dawn and Gail Patterson were held on August 31st. The funeral was closed to the public, and Erin did not attend. On September 22nd, after weeks in critical condition, Ian Wilkinson was discharged from the hospital after his wife had already been laid to rest. His recovery marked the only survival among the 4 adults who had eaten the beef Wellington that day.
I can't believe that he was I can believe it, but that's so long to be hospitalized.
Yeah, and especially when you're hospitalized and you can't attend your wife's own funeral is heartbreaking.
The whole thing. And just the recovery of getting out, you're still not well. I mean, you're out of the hospital, but you're still not moving fast. A liver transplant, not having been poisoned, a transplant of any type of organ is very difficult. You have to take a lot of like medication so your body doesn't reject it. Not to mention you're already in this like heightened, inflamed state from being fucking poisoned.
And emotional state because your family's dead.
Your family's dead, and your, sister-in-law and brother-in-law's grandkids are now living in a house with the person that maybe did it.
Yeah. The stark difference from like pictures from, a day before he went for that dinner versus when he was discharged from the hospital, he is a shell of a man.
Oh, understandably so too.
Yeah. But he looks just like he's gained 20 years, in that amount of time. On November 2nd, 2023, police arrested Erin Patterson. She was charged with 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. The additional attempted murder charges were related to Simon Patterson, based on earlier incidents between 2021 and 2022, in which he had reportedly fallen gravely ill after consuming food prepared by Erin. According to the prosecution, he had suffered 2 separate hospitalizations in 2021 and 22 for unexplained gastrointestinal symptoms, including a collapsed bowel.
I think the prosecutors were like, she's clearly not the first time. This isn't the first time. Like, let's go ahead and charge her with all these things, which you can do to try to get a plea. You can do because you think you can really pursue them. And it's also like in the interest of justice, you have a victim going, yeah, she's the one that made me the sandwich and handed it to me.
Yeah. I think it also speaks to motive and premeditation too. If she's been trying this for years with him.
Yeah, for real. I think by then, if you're the police, you're like, I know she foraged the mushrooms. I know she has them because there's photos on her tablet of her taking pictures, weighing them, drying them. I know she had the dehydrator because we found the man. Like, you've just collected it all. And then her actions of throwing it away, deleting the phone device. Like, absolutely, this is probable cause. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Ian Wilkinson spoke publicly for the first time in a sermon delivered half a year after the tragedy. He focused on themes of endurance and faith, urging his congregation to continue on despite overwhelming sorrow, saying through visible tears,
"Let me encourage you to keep on going. The way is sometimes hard, but God is good. He is with us. He promised to never leave us or forsake us, and I can say that is true."
This whole sermon was just heart-wrenching, man. Him just standing up there looking so frail, and his congregants that had remained so faithful during this whole time, because it is such a small town.
Yeah. Oh, such a small church.
Yes. And they all, of course, knew everyone that was killed, as well as Erin too.
Herself,
and all of them. But they spoke so highly of Ian and just said, without him there, it felt like, a part of them was missing, and they were so glad to have him back. But to get up in front of your congregation and be able to even stand there and speak after such a tragedy and still have positive and encouraging things to say is really the mark of a good, not only pastor, but person.
Yeah, a testament to his humanity. And absolutely, that you don't just let it destroy you and turn bitter or whatever.
Erin was denied bail. Prosecutors invoked sections of the Victorious Crimes Act 1958 that signaled their intent to pursue maximum penalties. If convicted, Erin faced the possibility of multiple life sentences. She remained in custody pending trial. In May of 2024, Erin appeared in the Supreme Court of Victoria and entered a plea of not guilty to all charges.
I mean, girl, you're about to get locked up and not get out. I don't know why. She's definitely a danger to the community, in my opinion. So I think leaving her locked in there pending trial was the right move.
Yeah, especially considering Simon is still alive, as are her children.
And Ian, she didn't even get all of her targets.
Yeah.
Who knows? You're trying to come back.
And who else may have wronged her along this way, since then, too.
Or wrong her before trial. She's pissed at her lawyer or something. Yeah. Sinisterhood will be right back.
As a parent, I am always looking for ways to keep our kids engaged and learning without it feeling like homework for both of us. Sometimes they need a little extra help with a subject. Other times, they just want to dive deep into a totally random interest. You know, Simon is loving dinosaurs, anything sea creatures. Ella's all about axolotls. They just hyperfixate on stuff. And sometimes it's super unexpected things that I don't remember learning about in school. So when I found out about OutSchool, I was very excited.
Yeah, OutSchool is a global learning platform offering live online classes and one-on-one tutoring that adapts to your child's unique interests, needs, and goals. With a flexible monthly membership, parents get access to 5-star teachers, hundreds of K-12 topics, and a smarter way to support their kids' learning anytime, anywhere.
With OutSchool, kids can follow their curiosity, learn at their own pace, and thrive beyond the limits of school. OutSchool is learner-led, personalized, live, self-paced learning.
Whether you're homeschooling, looking for enrichment, or just need something to keep your kid busy, OutSchool has something for everyone.
If you want to try OutSchool, you can get your family's first month for only $1 for a limited time when you use our link, outschool.com/creepy. OutSchool has been a game changer for our family. This new membership exclusive discount is only available when you go through our link and use code CREEPY. This is our special back to school offer.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
By this point, media coverage had exploded. Podcasts like ABC Australia's The Mushroom Case Daily and Stan's Death Cap climbed into the national top 10. Daily news coverage featured speculation about digital forensics, including phone records, location data, and alleged image extractions showing death cap mushrooms on Erin's kitchen scale. Across Australia and later the world, the story had become a media obsession. In late April 2025, jury selection began in Morwell, the closest town with a court large enough to host the trial. It was held there at Erin's request. Although Morwell was typically quiet, the arrival of journalists, podcasters, bloggers, and spectators transformed the small town. Cafes that normally struggled for foot traffic were suddenly full. Local shopkeepers remarked on the unusual buzz, and the public gallery was packed with amateur sleuths who lined up outside the courthouse from as early as 5 a.m. More than 15,000 potential jurors had been screened for the courtroom that only held around 30 spectators.
And I think there was only like 6 media seats as well. Like the 6 for the media, the rest were for the public / I guess some for the family. But she wanted it in the small area, and I think it was because maybe she thought it would be less coverage. And in fact, I think it amplified it more because like people were like trying to get in, to like get the story.
15,000 potential jurors, if I'm not mistaken, is close to what the Idaho case also pulled.
Oh, I think so. They were just understandably concerned about this trial by media because by April of 2025, the lunch was served, she was arrested, and then she's like in jail awaiting trial. And in the meantime, there's just like information coming out. There's leaks, public information, like digging into her past. So then it becomes this kind of like trial by media that you're like, well, we got to find somebody that's never heard of this. And that's going to be hard because there's literally the number one news source has the number one podcast about this right now. Like everyone's paying attention.
Just before trial commenced, the prosecution dropped the attempted murder charges involving Simon Patterson. The decision stemmed from a lack of direct forensic evidence tying Erin to those earlier illnesses. With that, the case narrowed to the fatal mushroom lunch.
I'm sure for Simon, you're like, as long as she's punished, like if she's going to go to jail for life for my parents, like whatever, that's fine. You probably can't prove this.
Do you think they do that because they're worried they won't get convictions on that, and so it could be thrown out or a mistrial or something? Maybe also we'll throw these out if as part of a plea deal if you're willing to plea, but she didn't.
No, oftentimes, prosecutors, it's a strategic tactic to charge for as much as you potentially could possibly prove in the hopes that it could be used as some type of a plea bargaining chip. But in this case, I think the incidents with Simon also were so far removed, it almost like became less of a bargaining chip because it would be like, okay, prove it. Prove that I poisoned him. Prove what did I put in him? Okay, how sick was he? What was wrong? Like, I think we can all look and know 4 times, at least 3 of those times, maybe the first one maybe is an accident. I doubt it. But from you have to prove each element. I doubt you'd be able to prove that, like that she put it in there intentionally and all that. But and it would just completely not confuse, but it'd be a huge mess for the jury already when it's already sort of a circumstantial case going, she had the means, the motive, the opportunity, and when everyone was back's turned, that's when it happened. We don't have direct evidence that she did it. So it might be easier to prove.
Yeah. During opening statements, the prosecution argued that Erin had deliberately prepared individual beef Wellington parcels, enabling her to control which servings contained the toxic mushrooms. The prosecutor told the jurors,
"The accused made sure she did not eat the portion laced with the death cap."
The defense countered that this was a tragic accident, claiming Erin had no intention to harm anyone and had simply made an error in sourcing or mixing ingredients.
I think that's what you have to argue when you're the defense and you're like, listen, they know that the dehydrator's got them in there. They know, like, we'll deal with the foraging stuff. Like, that was an oopsie, but we can't say that you didn't even feed them anything.
Right. No.
There's an alive one is here to testify against you. Like, they know you were the one that baked it.
And how did you get 0 of it in yours?
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution's case rested heavily on forensic evidence. Toxicology reports confirmed that all 3 deceased victims had died from amatoxin poisoning, a hallmark of death cap mushrooms. Autopsy records stated that the cause of death in each case was acute liver failure. DNA analysis from the recovered food dehydrator showed a 99% match to death cap mushroom material. Cell tower data and GPS records showed Erin had visited areas near Loch and Outram, regions known for death cap growth. Investigators also recovered a photograph from her phone that appeared to show a cluster of death caps on a kitchen scale.
Other than writing a diary entry called "How I Poisoned My In-Laws and Why," it's pretty clear step by step by step by step.
It was almost like she's making a scrapbook of information to later use.
To offer them. And especially I think it is impactful for a jury to hear, not only did she look up where the death caps were the same day she drove to where they were, because they don't last totally long. She was at the place where they were for 20 minutes, and then she immediately drove to the place to get a dehydrator that day. Again, you don't have to say well, I didn't see it rain. It's well, I was outside and the ground was dry, and then I went inside and I took a nap. And when I woke up, everything was wet, including cars and trees. I think I can guess that it was rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ian Wilkinson, the lone survivor, testified that while everyone else was served on white plates, Erin's meal came on a small orange plate. This detail supported the prosecution's argument that Erin had taken precautions to avoid ingesting the toxin herself. He also described how Erin was acting strange and kept all of her guests away from the kitchen that day. The prosecution also introduced Facebook messages in which Erin discussed dehydrating mushrooms and sneaking them into her children's meals to improve their diets. Photos from Erin's tablet also showed her weighing and dehydrating mushrooms, specifically death caps, in May of 2023.
So she's literally plates the murders on gray plates.
Yeah.
And then is but this one's mine.
Orange.
It's okay.
Yeah. Very prison based too. Orange and gray. It's I think it's one of those, she thinks she's so smart for doing this, but it is a thing that would stand out to most people.
To the jury, certainly. And especially when you hear Ian go, then we were all in the living room and Heather said, "Oh, come and look at the new pantry." They had done a remodel or upgrade or whatever. And Heather says, "Everybody come in where Erin is making the food and let's look at this pantry." And Erin's like, "No, everybody get out of here." Again, it's acting too obvious. And the messages of her saying, "I've just been dehydrating mushrooms and sneaking them into my kids' foods for the last however many months." You know that she can do it and that she's sneaking things into food.
You know what's fucked up too is there's a really good chance she was dehydrating things and putting them in her kids' food while also using this dehydrator for death caps, which clearly we know the traces of the toxin were still found in there. So intentionally or on accident, she was cross-contaminating, and there was a huge possibility her kids were going to get poisoned.
And I think, yeah, absolutely. It shows a high degree of selfishness and central, like focused on what's what I want to do. And so it's fine. I won't do that. And I'm too smart for that. So I would never do that. But you're right. Inherently, just having remnants of that, even if it doesn't kill your kid could still get sick or have liver problems or something. So the fact that she was practicing with dehydrating, not just the death caps, like all types of mushrooms, you're right, is like very reckless.
Yeah. And with her too.
Yeah, like, true.
I mean, I don't know. The powder of it, you get some on your hands or like rub your eyes or I mean, she obviously didn't think everything through, so it wouldn't be crazy for her to make a mistake like that.
No, absolutely not. And then, as if it wasn't enough that she has pictures on her phones, there's also pictures on her tablet. And it's like all different days. It was like, this was clearly a hobby for her. And she was working at it for months at least.
For a long time. A forensic psychologist brought in by the state described Erin as manipulative and emotionally detached, noting behaviors
consistent with sociopathy.
ICU physician Dr. Chris Webster, who treated the victims, was even more direct. He said bluntly,
"She's a sociopath."
The prosecution's biggest challenge, however, remained the question of motive. No financial windfall was apparent. The theorized motive that Erin wanted to eliminate her in-laws as a way to rebuild her family with Simon remained speculative. Media coverage and courtroom debate frequently discuss the absence of a clear motive.
And that's what everybody's wanting to know. Like, why today? What was this final straw? Like, I get it with that they had issues with their taxes and that there was going to be some question of child support, but it didn't seem like she was in danger of like losing the house or like she was going to be like destitute without his money. So it's strange. Like, why then?
I mean, maybe just malice.
Yeah.
Maybe she was upset that he didn't want to get back together with her and her family was falling apart because of her own doings. And she was just going to make everyone hurt.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of would be if there was any financial element to it, that because Simon was supposed to come, if Simon's parents are killed and Simon is killed, Simon's kids would inherit. But even still, I think Erin still has money left over and like invested in property from her $2 million or whatever. Like, it's not like, well, Erin was addicted to online shopping and like spend all the money. Like, it seems like she just like lives like a pretty quiet-ish life. So the financial thing, but I don't know. Or she was just going to take them all out because she was just pissed off that he wouldn't get back with her and they wouldn't help him get back with her. Yeah. But I still don't know how Ian and Heather got looped into all this.
It seems like just malicious intent of hurting as many people as I can. Yeah. Or, I mean, this is totally speculative. Perhaps if Simon had come, she wouldn't have made him enough to kill him.
Oh, yeah. Maybe she would have killed everyone but him. But
could be. Or given him just a little bit to make him sick. So she then becomes like, in her mind, this savior caretaker that is handling everything after his family dies and he's in the hospital. I don't know. This is all just speculation. But he listened to his gut and was like, no. And I think that saved his life.
I think so. And from his perspective, you know, we kind of discussed like, well, you thought she was going to poison you. You're letting your family go over there. I don't think it would ever have crossed his mind. Like, this is so beyond the pale. Even if she had been trying to kind of fuck with him or mess with him, if I was Simon, I would say she's upset with me. Her issue is with me. My family, they love her. She texts them all the time. Like, she's super nice to them. She confides in them. They love her. She goes to the church. Like, you know, she might try to hurt me, but she would never hurt my family, which is completely a fair assessment. And you can't know. What did your daughter say the other day? We can't know what people are capable of.
True. The defense focused on Erin's claim that the poisoning had been accidental. She had told officials that the mushrooms came from two sources, fresh ones from Woolworths and dried mushrooms from a Chinese grocer in Melbourne. Mycologist Dr. Camille Truong testified that death cap mushrooms are not commercially available in stores and can only be foraged from the wild, directly contradicting Erin's account.
And that's the other thing, too, where she's kind of like, oh, well, I can't believe I happened to pick these up at Woolworths or I happened to pick these up at the store. And this mycologist is like, these are not mass produced. Like, it's hard to find enough to even hurt like one person, much less the amount that you needed. And this wouldn't be like it got slipped in. Like they're sold in different places. So I think.
And they certainly wouldn't sell them on purpose. That'd be like selling a gun to just in the produce section.
No, for sure. It seems like she was I think she was unfamiliar with the supply chain by she, I mean, Erin was unfamiliar with the supply chain of mushrooms. Yeah. And she just threw this possibility out there. And it's like, you don't think the state's going to call a mushroom expert?
No, she didn't.
She doesn't think of anything.
The defense attempted to paint Erin as overwhelmed, isolated, and anxious, not malicious. In a dramatic turn, Erin decided to testify on her own behalf. Under Australian law, she was under no obligation to do so, and many expected her to remain silent. For 8 days on the stand, she admitted to foraging and dehydrating mushrooms, but claimed she had never knowingly included anything dangerous in the meal, saying,
"I didn't intend to hurt anyone."
8 days of testifying in your own murder trial.
Having to hear from her too for 8 days
is,
I think,
exhausting to the jury.
And also I think you're kind of like, I see who this person is. Yeah. And that's the like danger of testifying if you're not a super likable person. No. I mean, I hate to say it, is that people are like, you're giving people the opportunity to hear you speak, answer, and to make the determination. I feel like she could have done this.
Yeah. And when you testify and you did do it, it just, people can see through that. No matter how good of a liar you think you are, someone on that jury is going to be like, no, this is total bullshit. If you testify and you're innocent, I think that can also come across as reading innocent. It's still a crapshoot, and that's why most people don't testify in their own trials. Who do we see testify? Narcissists that think that they can beat the system.
That's exactly what I got from this, was that it would be like her barristers are kind of like, they don't need to hear from you.
Don't need to do
and
this.
She's like, no, I want to tell my side. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. You can't tell her not. I mean, you can advise her not to, but you can't make her not to.
Like, by the way, you don't have to do this. And it's like, no, I do. And it's like, I guess you see not only Camille Trong, another mycologist got on there and testified too. And it's like, you have the police experts, the forensic footage, or the forensic evidence, and Ian, that maybe her thought was like, this is my last chance. I got to do it. Otherwise they're going to find me guilty. But it's like, I think you were going down either way.
Yeah. Asked about why she served her portion on a different plate, Erin denied doing so on purpose. She claimed Ian had been mistaken, and she served the guest on a mix of plates that were available, not in any effort to distinguish her serving. When questioned about angry text messages in which she disparaged Simon's family, Erin said she was just venting. In a moment that would stick with many observers, Erin admitted to throwing away the dehydrator, claiming she panicked after Simon overtly accused her of poisoning his family. Simon denied this conversation, but Erin testified,
"I was scared that they would blame me for it, for making everyone sick, and I was scared they would remove the children." So now you have her, there's two different witnesses that she's going, well, Ian was mistaken. It wasn't the plates. Also, Simon lied, and Simon did say this because she alleged that in the hospital that there was some mention of the food dehydrator or some mention of mushrooms or food, and that he said, "Is that what you used to kill my parents?" Is her allegation. And she said him saying that triggered it in me that I needed to throw away the non-evidence. And because I was afraid he was going to tell the authorities I killed his parents and then have the kids taken away. Yeah, because that's what happened.
That is what happened.
That's what he should tell them.
Yeah.
But he's like, that conversation never happened. I think, obviously she was doing that for her own good, for her own protection. But you're right. When you're in front of the jury going, "Oh, I'm so believable. You should believe me." Well, he's lying. That pastor, that almost died, that literally watched his wife and sister and brother-in-law die. He's mistaken.
Yeah. The elderly ill pastor. Yeah. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Photos of like plates in your house, like we figured it out, again.
And then also when somebody like this is testifying, especially for 8 days, the jury is just over it. They're like, "Bitch, we've heard you lying for 8 days now. Get off the stand." Like, they just get pissed, and then you can't win people back after. It's very hard to win a jury back after they have that opinion of you.
100%. And it's after they've already seen way more legitimate, grounded Dr. Camille Trong, doctors that treated the victims, Dr. Thomas Mays, who Funky Tom, we mentioned him last time. He, describing when she's like, oh, I've never done anything like that. He's like, these are the exact locations. And here's the website I'm also on. And I said, hey guys, watch out for death caps. And then suddenly someone's cell phone shows them going to that place. So again, to be like, I never did any of that. It's, you start to just sound like a joke, like the audience, but they are an audience, like the jury who's here to determine your fate can see through you. But I don't think she cares. You're right at the beginning when you said she's a narcissist, like, and that the other doctor said sociopath, like kind of just tunnel vision. Like, no, I can control the whole situation.
Yeah. No real emotions. Yeah. Erin told the jurors that after eating the beef Wellington, she ate an entire orange cake that Heather Wilkinson had brought. She described struggles with her weight and eating disorders. After having the cake, Erin claimed she went to the bathroom and threw up the contents of her stomach. Her defense attorneys argued this could be why Erin had no serious symptoms from ingesting the death caps. She also explained the lie about her cancer. She was planning to get gastric band surgery and was embarrassed to tell her family why she needed help with childcare during recovery. Prosecutors then discovered that the clinic where Erin testified she had scheduled the surgery doesn't even do gastric band procedures, eliciting audible sighs from the jury.
Again, I think she thought medical stuff was going to make people feel bad for her.
This is so many lies on lies on lies to keep up with, and also so many lies that can be verified, you fucking moron.
That's the best, is that on one day of testimony, she's like, I was having gastric band and I was so embarrassed. And I, at ABC Clinic, this is where it was at, whatever the name was. And then literally the next day, the prosecutor's like, what? We called them. They don't do that. So what do you say about that? And she's like, oh, I must have been mistaken. And then the jury's like, we've been at this 8 fucking days, lady, and you're still lying to us?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
They're
and
pissed.
To say, oh, well, I struggled with my weight. That's very hard and very sad. I struggled with my weight as well.
Me too.
But it is sick for a person to then, who murdered people, to try and use a diagnosable illness, which maybe she does struggle with bulimia actually, but then to try to say, well, that's why I didn't have any. It was the other plate why you didn't have any.
Yeah. It was
wasn't
just
throwing up.
It was a lot of excuses that she, I think, thought would elicit pity, concern, sympathy, all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, like when you're telling this, spinning this yarn, not knowing that on the other end of it, the prosecutor is going to be like just Jim stabbing Dwight's ball with the scissors. Like that prosecutor is like chomping at the bit, like is so excited about it. But I feel like when Erin's in the zone, she doesn't know how dumbass it sounds to be like, well, I know I lied to them, but I lied to them for this reason, but I'm not lying to you now. And I'm telling you the truth now. And you're like, oh no, you've lost.
Like Alec Murdaugh on the stand, just like, God. You're like, y'all, you've already fucked yourself. Get down. Let us all go home. Like we already know what the deal is.
I think it can hurt you.
Experts analyzed her testimony afterward and noted her impressive command of dates, times, locations, and specifics that echoed former coworkers' descriptions of Erin as exceptionally smart. They noted that this display of intelligence may have cut against her defense, that she was confused by what mushrooms she had purchased and accidentally put them into the meal.
It's like you can't help yourself when you're asked a question and she's like, bam, on it, bam, on it, bam, on it. And then it's like, but this one day I was very confused.
That's a narcissist. They can't not be right when they know they are. And then and that's why you just let them talk and you watch them and let them go about their daily business, because they're going to fuck up on their own.
Don't interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake.
Absolutely. After 11 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for 7 days. On July 7th, 2025, they returned their verdict. Erin Patterson was found guilty of 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The courtroom fell silent. As she was led out of the courtroom, she turned to her longtime friend, Allison Rose Pryor, and said quietly,
"See you soon." And I tried to find anybody coming out in support of Erin Patterson. And you have to think about what kind of life one must have led that all you have is your one friend, Allison Rose, who said afterwards, I'm saddened, but it is what it is. And then they said,
yikes.
Are you going to continue seeing her? And she said, I'm her friend and I'll see her. So she didn't say she didn't do it, or this is all a big misunderstanding, or I can't believe it. It's like, yeah, I mean, my friend's a murderer and I'm going to go see her in jail. Like, I don't know. But and correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I was really trying to find like people to come out and be like, well, I worked with her, and people talk about her putting a razor in a banana. I don't know if that's true. She was always cool to me. Like, that's sad. Like, and maybe indicative of the type of person that would do this.
Yeah. Erin faces the possibility of multiple life sentences. Within the prison system, early reports suggested she had not adjusted well. She was said to be isolated from other inmates and reportedly struggling with the social dynamics of incarceration. This case is believed to be the first in Australian legal history to result in a murder conviction by means of mushroom poisoning. Prior deaths from similar toxins had been ruled accidental or undetermined. Erin's case has already been compared to infamous poisoners like Mary Ann Cotton and Belle Gunness. Commentators have also raised questions about gender, media framing, and true crime voyeurism, given the intense media scrutiny in the case.
And I guess that's how rare it is, because Mary Ann Cotton was like 1873 in England, and Belle Gunness was 1908 in like Indiana.
It's an old-timey way of doing things, it seems.
Yeah, and it also seems like I think that's why those names, like those two, stick around for so long, because it does seem like such an insidious secret. Mm-hmm. Like, you trusted her, and she was, I think Mary Ann Cotton was the Black Widow of England, and then Lady Bluebird was Belle Gunness. Like, both of them, it would like lure men into their lives and then poison them for insurance profits and stuff. So interesting that the parallels have been drawn to those cases. But it's definitely a case of, there was an intense amount of attention on this, but do you ask yourself, because it's such a wild case, like such a shockingly wild and terrible deed, that's why there's so much attention, not just that it's necessarily like the true crime media landscape.
Yeah, it's like the plot to a movie. I mean, you find like natural growing things to kill people, and you're kind of, a homely woman that many might not suspect, although those that know her well didn't seem that surprised that she was capable of it.
It was like people were running to come out of the work to be like, I had a weird run-in. Like, I'm the guy that painted her wall, and there was this weird shit on her wall. So, yeah, it's interesting to see all the different angles that have come at coverage of it.
As of today, Erin Patterson has spent over a year in near total solitary confinement, locked in her cell for approximately 22 hours a day. She has access to crochet materials and a computer, but minimal outdoor time. Her only allowed interaction is through a mesh fence with a terror inmate with whom she has never spoken. Justice Beale, who oversaw her case, described these conditions as
not very humane. And that's 400 days in solitary is a lot of days. I believe a lot of the poor conditions are due to a lack of staffing in the prison. And also she can't go to like the educational programs until after she's sentenced. Before then, she would theoretically be able to go to the library, but she could only go when there's no other inmates, and the hours are shorter because they don't have enough staff. And I think it's the same with outdoor time, is like she can only go outside if there's no other inmates out there, and they can only like keep it open so long because of lack of staff. But
so is that to protect herself or the inmates?
It's just to protect her. I mean, they said basically they kept her in this because she's got a really high profile status and potential safety concerns. And the terrorist who shares like the wall with her or whatever, they said, the terrorist has not talked with her. And I believe the reporters were trying to kind of suss out, like, is it because the terrorist didn't want to talk to her? She didn't want to talk to the terrorist. They would not clarify. There is an intra-inmate intercom system that you can call each other and talk as inmates, but that it only you can only use it if you know somebody else's name in there. And since she's totally segregated, she doesn't really know anybody to talk to. So I think right now that's like what her life's going to look like until she's sentenced and she can start doing some of those maybe like classes and things but otherwise, like, you just crocheting and typing.
Yeah. And no visitors allowed.
I think she can have visitors, but it just depends on the day and the time
coming
and how.
to see her.
That's what I want to know. I mean, is Simon wanting to take the kids out to see mom? I don't know.
Sure
maybe
wouldn't, but yeah. Starting on August 25th, 2025, a 2-day pre-sentencing hearing was held in Melbourne. The court received a total of 28 victim impact statements, of which 7 were read publicly. Simon Patterson was not present and had a cousin read his statement. In it, Simon lamented the impact on the couple's children, saying,
"They've been robbed of hope. They live in an irreparably broken home with a solo parent when almost everybody knows their mother murdered their grandparents."
He also acknowledged his children's resilience, calling them
incredibly strong, loving, intelligent. With much help, they are overcoming the hurdles.
That is so shitty because everybody does know your mom killed your grandparents. And that's a hard thing to be around when everybody knows that, it's just a constant elephant in the room.
Yeah, and it's such a rock and a hard place to say, we love our town, we love where we live, we love our neighbors, but everybody knows it here. So if I ever want to get away from this, I have to leave everything I loved. And you kind of take for granted being able to live in anonymity. You're just some girl at the grocery store. And then the next day, that's the mushroom murderer's daughter at the grocery store. What is she buying? Like, that's how nasty people can be. And we have not said the children's names. I have most of the things I've read, I've not seen the children's name mentioned.
I've not even seen their names.
No. And if I did, I would not repeat it because they deserve to live in as much anonymity as they want. If they wanted to come out later and like have a public speaking or like process this publicly, absolutely would welcome that with open arms, but no need to do that. Go live your life. Like, I'm sorry that this happened to you too.
Oh yeah. So terribly sorry. Pastor Ian Wilkinson offered his thoughts, the only survivor of Erin's deadly lunch. On losing his wife, he said,
"It's truly a horrible thought to live with, that somebody could decide to take her life. I only feel half alive without her."
Losing Dawn and Gail was also devastating for the pastor, who said,
"My life is greatly impoverished without them." What a way to put it.
Oh, yeah. He is beautifully well-spoken, as so many pastors are. The way he puts things is almost poetic, but so sad at the same time.
It's a strong thing to be able to get up and say that kind of stuff, to not only live it, but to be willing to share it, to tell the court, like, this is how devastating.
Ian struggled to comprehend what had happened, saying,
"I'm distressed that Erin has acted with careless and calculated disregard for my life and the lives of those I love. What foolishness possesses a person to think that murder can be the solution to their problems, especially the murder of people who've had only good intentions towards her."
He ended his statement with a powerful declaration.
"I encourage Erin to receive my offer of forgiveness for those harms done to me with full confession and repentance. I bear her no ill will. I'm no longer Erin Patterson's victim, and she has become the victim of my kindness."
Dude. Bars at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
Pastor Ian.
So many people that are able to like forgive people in these situations because it lifts the burden off of themselves. I envy, because that's just not the life for me. I don't think. I mean, I understand why people do it. And he now to take that back though, and to be like, you're a victim of my kindness is very powerful. Good for him. I think more people should think of it like that.
No, and you're right. It's powerful, especially in the face of a person who I think wanted so badly to be like, I'm a villain and now you hate me. And now, like, she likes to be poor, pitiful me. And to be like, the one survivor is like, I forgive you. And I hope that you have the life the rest of the life that you deserve. And to his credit, he said, receive my offer of forgiveness with a full confession and repentance. So to me, it sounds like he's saying, I forgive you, but to get the full effect of forgiveness, you need to go ahead and come clean. Like, we all know you did this. It's insulting. It's insult to injury to keep saying, it was an accident.
It is very insulting. Yes. Heather Wilkinson's daughter, Ruth Dubois, described how
life feels less bright without her.
Gail and Heather's sister, Lynette Young, mourned the loss of the lives her sisters would never live, saying,
I'm just so angry and so sad that my people are not here to be the loving grandparents and parents that they always were.
Dawn and Gail's nephew, Tim Patterson, shared his statement and asked,
"Why did she choose to focus her expertly hidden wrath on the most selfless people I know?"
Dawn's brother and mother both spoke as well, and, like Tim and the others, are still struggling to grapple with their enormous loss. Erin still awaits sentencing. The prosecution has emphasized the premeditated and cruel nature of the crime and is seeking life imprisonment without parole. The defense does not oppose a life sentence, but has argued for a fixed non-parole term, citing her punishing imprisonment conditions and unverified claims of autism. Sentencing is scheduled for September 8th, 2025.
Yeah, there will be a life imprisonment, but the question is kind of what we talked about with the Menendez brothers, whether there'll be an option for parole or not. So a fixed non-parole term is the Australian justice system way to say, 20, minimum 20, like a mandatory minimum. There's no mandatory, but if the judge set a minimum, and then she could apply and ask for parole, but doesn't mean it's going to be granted. And I don't think she's ever, even if they offered her parole, I can't imagine really that she would ever get it, just given this very horrifying premeditation. I mean, it's months of premeditation. It's very sick.
Yeah.
So
not to mention the complete lack of admission or accountability or anything that would show that you've rehabilitated in any way.
That would be the only thing, is if like later on she they put her in therapy in prison and she worked through it and wanted to be honest about what she did and why she did what she did. But I think keeping the same, no, I didn't do anything. It was an accident. It was an accident. That's not the type of person you want loose in the streets.
No.
At all. So I think too, regardless of her sentencing on the 8th, I don't think her conditions are going to change really anytime soon, other than she gets access to educational and vocational training programs, which might just be more, sort of ways to pass the day.
Yeah.
But I think she's going to stay in solitary because she's just too famous right now.
Yeah. Survivor Ian Wilkinson said in a statement to ABC,
"I will never understand what happened that day. We went to lunch with love and we left with grief."
The lack of clear motive has driven continued interest in the case. Dawn and Gail Patterson and Heather Wilkinson are deeply missed by those who loved them and the communities they left behind. Their loving service to others continues in death. In the wake of the trial, public awareness of mushroom toxicity skyrocketed. Foraging groups across Victoria began posting warnings, and grocery stores updated signage to distinguish safe varieties from lookalikes. So what do we think?
Oh, it's just everybody uses the word tragic tale, but when you really see the snuffing out of the lives that they couldn't lead, the parenting they still had left to do with Ruth and Simon, and the grandparenting they still had to do, and the community service they still had left to do, it's that waste. It feels like such a sad, pointless waste. And especially the one still standing is the shittiest of them all.
Except for Ian.
Worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's no, I'm not talking about Ian. I mean, but the fact that Erin is you didn't die, you get to live, and these wonderful people are killed and or maimed, both Simon and Ian, that's long lasting effects. So
I say senseless. I think she had a motive, and I think she's not sharing that. But if not financial, then what is left if not malice? I mean, just hurting someone that you want to hurt because they won't love you back.
100%. That's what it seems like, is that I'll get mine, kind of. And I think that's also why so much attention was put on the case, not only because it is a female defendant, which oftentimes people look to a woman who has committed crimes to be apologetic for it, or, act in a certain way, or they do get labeled in her case she's mad, she's nutter, Scudder the Nutter, and trying to, in the absence of information, I think that's where a lot of things get projected on her. Fair, in my opinion, I say fairly in this case, because I don't think it's too far off to say that she was sort of this insidious planner. But I will be fascinated as the years go on, perhaps as part of her, if she does get sentenced and there's some parole option, that she would admit it. But in my opinion, a person like this does not change their stripes overnight. And she's not going to just wake up and be repentant and want to actually like admit to anything. It's more likely if she did, it would be like, well, I was going through a psychotic episode and I thought it was this. You know, I think she would just try to like find, again, it's not the type of person that takes personal responsibility. So
yeah, absent a ton of therapy in prison. And even with that, you know, if she's a diagnosed sociopath, then there's only so much that somebody's going to get to do with her as a therapist.
Yeah. Of like, what can we even believe? Like as part of the therapy versus part of like her repentance. Even if she did want to come, you know, confess, I would be suspicious.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. Like, I don't know if this is the truth or it's just another thing to try to make you look good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's such a sad story and such a painful thing for the survivors to continue to grapple with, because not only did, I mean, what a, again, beautifully macabre quote of we went to lunch with love and left with grief, like, and none of them knew that that was coming. And so the fact that you have these like four older people that all they want to do is like love and be there for someone. And then this monster that is knowingly like concocting a potion just that like, they're about to come over and drink and she's going to kill them. The whole thing is just unbearable for like Simon or those kids or anybody to think of. Like when your mind starts thinking about that day, if I were them, it would just, they all need therapy of their own. Everyone, of course, does involved in this because it's just so many questions that you probably won't get answered. And so you have to find a way to move on, not having those questions unanswered, you know?
Yeah. That's a really good point to bring up too, is that even if that they survived, physically speaking, what does that do to your trust of others, to your trust of food that's put in front of you, to prep food at restaurants? Does it give you like a PTSD type reaction to somebody else cooking your food? Or it's just the amount of harm that she's done is most evident in the loss of Dawn and Gail and Heather, but I think it will continue to just wrap itself around everybody that touched this case, from the experts that testified to the doctors that treated to the family members. You know, like we said, there's cousins, there's nephews, like people don't exist in like mommy, daddy, son and daughter, like just this one tiny family. It's like we're all connected in so many ways that I'm sure the Leongatha and that whole area in Victoria is just hurting. And now, you know, that's what happens, right? Like the press comes in like a vampire and sticks its teeth in and suck, and then just leaves.
Yeah.
And there's just this community that's like, we've just been fucking wrecked.
Yeah. And we
live
have to pick up the pieces, try to move on, and we don't have answers. While the rest of the world and the news stories have moved on.
For sure. So blessed to everybody, blessings to everyone that's in that area, the family members that survived. And hopefully with her sentencing, that can be kind of a nice close on the chapter to let them move forward towards healing. But I'm glad they both got to say theirs in court.
Yes, absolutely.
This episode of Sinisterhood is made possible with the help of our amazing patrons.
If you're interested in supporting the show, consider joining our Patreon. You'll get access to ad-free regular episodes, weekly bonus content, you're able to vote on episode topics, join our monthly live streams, and more.
Keep it creepy.
Mwah.